Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Sorry it's been a little while. My New Year's resolution of uploading more consistently has gone great so far. Whoops, sorry, but yeah, it has been a very amazing but stressful month. I'm actually in Finland at the moment, and obviously with COVID and everything, it's kind of a case of like, am I gonna get there? Am I not gonna get there? But I'm here, I made it. It is very, 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 very snowy. So yeah, this is the view outside my window at the moment. It is absolutely stunning. Really hard to walk in because the snow is so deep, and I think it's only gonna get deeper. But yeah, no, it's beautiful and I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so now that the preamble is out of the way, I will get into the books, and yep, just gonna do a little reading summary of everything that I've read this month as normal. Give it a rating out of 5. And the first book I'm going to start with was actually a bit of a disappointment for me, and that is Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. Most people probably know because I am way behind on this, but Mockingjay is the last book in the Hunger Games trilogy, which was very big when I was a teenager. I just didn't get around to reading it, and it's a shame because I loved the first 2 books so much. I think I kind of said in my TBR list for this year that Mockingjay, it didn't need to be incredible, it just needed to not let the rest of the series down. And I think it let the rest of the series down. There was just so much that, like, it's really sad because I could see what she was trying to do and I could see what it was like doing, but I just think the way it was all strung together and connected was not the best, and it was a big letdown. I just found I didn't really care anymore. Like, there were loads of new characters, you didn't really get much of an insight into them, and then when things happened I was kind of like, well, you know, like, I don't really care. And there were some twists that were really good, but it's just a shame that the build up to the twists was such a mess, in my opinion. And yeah, I'm kind of really sad because I was really hoping, I really wanted to love it. And it started off and I was like, okay, like, because, you know, a lot of the Hunger Games books kind of have a slower start and then pick up. And this kind of, it sped up. I wouldn't say it picked up. So I'm going to have to conclude this trilogy with a rating of 2.5 for Mockingjay, which is really sad because yeah, as I say, I really wanted to love it, but never mind. Okay, so the next book that I read this month was one I have been meaning to read for a long time because I've heard very good things about, but I actually had to read it for one of my classes and it was absolutely amazing, and that is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. So I don't want to talk too much about this in detail because I think it is a good book that is best to be read without knowing too much, because I found a couple of like the summaries I've heard actually really influenced my kind of perceptions when I was reading it. But basically it is about a person who is inside a house. The house is quite like a strange place. It's very beautifully described, but the book kind of like unravels like the goings on in the house, and you just find out more and more as it goes. I personally found it like really relaxing to read. My mom said she found it very intense. So I think the reading experience really varies depending on who you are, and I think that is one of the beauties of it. Again, my kind of main advice going into it would be, don't box it into a genre. Don't try and like fit it into something. Just go in with an open mind and just read it, and just really kind of think about yourself as you read it, because I found it really affected me in a good way. I found it really made me think and really made me reflect as a reader, which is something I really love in my books. So yeah, I have to give this a very solid 5 stars because I have never read anything like it before in my life. And if any of you have read any kind of books that are similar to this, please let me know because I would love to check them out. And yeah, so yeah, please, if you have been considering reading this one, please read it because I promise you won't regret it. Okay, so the next book I read this month, well, I actually listened to the audiobook for it, and that is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. So Yeah, I personally found the beginning of this quite slow. I think if I'd been reading it rather than listening to the audiobook, I would have fallen into a bit of a reading slump. And I think it had such kind of in-depth world building, which for some people they're gonna really love that. But I think for me personally, the world building came at the expense of the pacing in the beginning. And then towards the end, everything just goes insane and it was amazing and I loved it. It has some really nice LGBT representation in it, which I really loved. It's really nice to kind of see some more of that in fantasy, because I don't think I've actually read many fantasy books with kind of good representation in it. Again, if anyone has any recommendations, please throw them at me, because I do love a fantasy book. But yeah, no, I did enjoy it, especially the second half. So I will give it a very solid 3.5 stars. Okay, so the last book from this month I also listened to the audiobook for, and that is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I have really mixed thoughts on this, because I know it is a book that has probably helped a lot of people. It does kind of touch on mental health issues. For me, I didn't like the way it did it. Yeah, I feel like it was one of those, when I was like first listening to it, I quite enjoyed it. And the more I thought about it and the more I kind of like, it played on my mind, I found it a bit problematic. There's quite a few kind of things I didn't like. I think it's very, I know that kind of like Nora goes on this journey, but it does feel like a very kind of like, oh, and now I'm fine situation. And it's, you know, it's not like that in real life. And yeah, I think it has the potential to be quite triggering for some people, and also I think it has the potential to do kind of more harm than good if people kind of get the wrong message from it. And I can see what Matt Haig was trying to do, but I definitely think that it has some very problematic connotations to it. And basically what the Midnight Library is about is, it is about a girl called Nora who she's not happy with her life, and through some kind of circumstances she kind of has this opportunity to try out the other lives, like the other lives that kind of like branched out from the choices that she's made in the past. So, you know, like I don't know, whether or not she kept swimming as a child instead of giving it up for music, or, you know, things like that. So she can kind of see where her like other lives would have gone if she'd made different choices. And it's a really interesting concept. I also thought by the end I kind of got a bit bored. Like it got a bit repetitive. It kind of went on for a bit too long, and yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. I did quite like the writing style, but yeah, no, it wasn't for me. So I'm gonna give it another 2.5 stars. So yeah, that is it for this month. It has been a wild ride. I think I've given some of the highest scores I've given, and I've also given some of the lowest scores I've given in a very long time. So yeah, I'm glad that I have read all these books though, because they've all been on my reading list for a while, so it's nice to tick them off. And yeah, so if you guys let me know what you've been reading in January, I would love to hear it. And, you know, what are your kind of reads in February? What is your TBR list? But yeah, I'm gonna go back outside into the cold snow and try not to freeze to death, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.